Running a racing car for 24 hours remains one of the toughest challenges in motorsport. Each year, a collection of amateur enthusiasts gathers at Snetterton in Norfolk to race modified versions of the French classic Citroën 2CV alongside classic minicars. Racing twice around the clock, the winner will complete over 700 laps, covering over 1,400 miles. For everyone else, a myriad of mechanical maladies, tiredness, stress, and worry must be endured. Merely finishing is considered an achievement. This film reveals the inside story of the 33rd running of this endurance race as competitors take on the task of racing these machines for an entire day. Conceived to provide cheap motorised transport for French farmers in the 1930s, during its 42-year production run, the 2CV would become one of the most recognised cars ever built. Nearly 4 million were made.
Otherwise it's flat out all the time. So it's try and carry speed all the time, little engine. So we're 602, tiny little engine, but it was never designed to go racing.
Its simplistic design allowed for the creation of one of the cheapest forms of motor racing in existence.
Well, most of the cars finish because we have a tow-back policy. If you stop out on the track, you get towed back for the first 23 hours. Now, the last hour, if you stop, tough, but you get towed back. So as a 30, I think 31, 32 cars started, probably all of them will cross the finishing line. Unlike at, say, Le Mans, you might spend a couple of £1 million organising a car. It can go off on the first bend. You don't get your money back.
Race day, 3 o'clock, August 26th, 2023.
Have fun? Yeah!
Teams say if you're going to have problems, have them early. Former champions and early race leader Team Lion number 97 blew an engine after just 14 minutes. After pulling in from the lead, the fault was diagnosed to be a broken crankshaft. Its sister car, number 79, running 7th in class, after just an hour and a half, also blew an engine.
Yeah, that car went out last night and we got pole position by a second and a half, and then after about 5 laps it blew up today. Pete Sparrow, he's our multiple champion 2CV racer, been at it ever since he started 35 years ago at Mallory Park, and his strategy was to go after the Mini, and the Minis are just a little bit faster than the 2CVs, and his policy was to try and open up a gap to the other cars, because there's about 5 cars all about as quick and they could be. He wanted to get ahead of them, so he went after the Minis and perhaps tried a little bit hard. We changed that one in 16 minutes. Our target is 10 minutes, but we've got some modifications to the wiring. It's the wiring. It didn't get done for this event, but by next year we'll be able to probably take 5 minutes off, because it'll just be 2 plugs rather than lots of twiddlings. But the trouble is, it's all very time consuming. And
How many laps or something?
oh, that was 4 laps probably on lap 4. Yeah.
But it's the old maxim that you have a problem, have it go early.
Well, we're not going to win the race unless a lot of people have a lot of problems, which is unlikely statistically. But we've won it 7 times in the last 9 years, so we'll learn from it.
Yeah, so I think an hour and a half in, I blew up our main engine. So I did it, just all me, which cost us about 15 minutes. We put the spare engine in, which then had a exhaust gasket failure, so which cost us then 25 minutes to be able to drill the engine to get the bolt out. But since then the car's out. It's not missed a beat. Well, and I tried to sort of like after I blew the engine up, I tried to sort of reel it in a little bit and make sure I didn't break anything else. So, but I did say to Rick, who's our mechanic, at least we got all of our trouble out of the way at the beginning. So.
Is it better to have had those failures at the beginning then?
Well, I'm not sure if it's better or worse. I think psychologically, for me, it felt really bad to have blown the engine up so soon. But you've got to think if you were right near the front and your engine failed near the end, would probably feel worse than I think we were 4th when I blew the engine up. But I think if we were 4th near the end and it blew up, I'd feel worse than at the beginning. So.
Hour 1. After the first hour, crisis at Tête Rouge led the 2CV field. 7 other cars were on the lead lap. 8 others, including the Blueberry Muffins car, were a lap behind. The 2CV team Lion, Super Schnecker with Jelly Snake Racing, and Blue Frog cars had already been struck by unreliability. Meanwhile, in the Classic class, the Le Mans 2CV Classic led the Dutch Diane Racing team. Many teams on the grid have been coming to this race for years, among them the Blueberry Muffins and Stock Tart cars.
Started doing these in 2003, so yeah, 20. Bloody hell. I've never counted.
There's 480 hours on how many hours.
Yes, I wouldn't even dread to think of the laps. I wouldn't count them. But previous to doing this 24-hour race, there used to be a charity race, a charity day around here, so you could take passengers in a race car around the track. And I signed up for that a couple of times. So I've probably put a lot more laps in that, as well as the 24 hours than just the 24 hours alone. So yeah, it's I know the place well, but it still surprises you. Everything changes.
Yes, it was. There's 2 cars, Clarence, which is number 40. That's one with Chris in it and the guys. And then there's the other one. It's changed its name this year, and that's the what's it called? It's the Stock Tarts. And it's because all of the guys in it are basically stock hatch racers. So normally they race little hatchback stock cars. And Pip is the guy that first started, and all his friends have followed him. But they're great racers. They're really. They have to try and slow them down. Is what we're trying to do. So slowing them down, because it's not a sprint. It's not 15-minute sprint. It's like got to make the car last a long time. And that car which they're in, which is called Rhubarb, that's always been that's done really well in the past over the years, and it's because it's always been driven gently, really. So we don't have engine changes and loads going wrong with it, and it's because they sort of tootle around and not tootle, but you know what I mean. They set a pace and stick to it, and then lo and behold, you end up going up the standings because everybody else is changing engines and things. So
the last couple of years I've had terrible luck, so something major's gone wrong in the last 3 years or so. Yeah, probably, yeah. So I'd quite like to just get some good luck this year and just keep going and try not to have too many problems. That's the idea.
There's definitely 2 ways to run this race. There's if you've got the reliability, and the drivers, then like some of the top teams, they really go for it and they're fast. Can you keep it down, please? Thank you. But steady, I think, wins. Steady wins the race.
And you've still got 10 past 6.
Yeah,
Time
we've only just started, really. Yeah, it feels like we've been over all day, but we just started about 3 hours ago.
Do I get punched if I say still a long way to go?
Yeah, you have to pace it, yeah. I think, to be honest, when 2 o'clock in the morning and it's dark and everyone's frazzled, it's going to seem like a really long race then. It's always the same every year.
At the race, a second class of 2CV is permitted. Largely unmodified, they are very different from their faster cousins. The Dutch and Dane racing team and Le Mans 2CV classic teams arrived from the Netherlands and France to compete.
Yeah.
What you actually, they were saying you're allowed to do a lot less to the car.
Yeah, because we are in the classic category, and the classic category is based on the European categories. So we are normally driving in Belgium and France, but we like to come here, but it's very hard to modify the car according to the British competition rules. So we are, in Europe we also in the classic category, and that's the category we can modify the less on the car. The only thing we can do is do the safety issues, so roll cage and fire extinguisher and that kind of things. But for the engine, we still have a normal engine, so we have an engine like in a street 2CV.
Because the others are uprated a long way, aren't they?
Yeah, I know that they have some modifications that they do through the club, and that's the way they are faster, but they are not that much faster. And they do a lot of things with the carburation, but we do everything as it is in a normal street car. So we have a normal street car. We also have a registration, so we can use it on the streets as well.
You actually drive on the roads?
Yeah, because in between the races, we do also classic rallies with the car.
While the Dutch team were running an untroubled race on Saturday evening, their French rivals ran into a series of terrible problems. The fan situated at the front of the engine broke, damaging the oil cooler and causing a major leak. Fixing it would take nearly 39 minutes, handing the Dutch a substantial lead.
So how's it driving so far today then?
So far we are doing quite well because we didn't have any problems, and our closest competitor, we are only with 2 cars in our class. They had some issues, so they had some problems, but we still have 20 hours to drive, so everything can happen. It's going to be dark in a couple of hours. There's probably going to be some rain. There's some rain expected, so and we know that this track is going to be very slippery during rain. So a lot of things can happen. We will see, but so far things are going quite well.
So far.
Yes, I would say how's it going, but I'm just going to say more.
Yeah, it's going okay. To plan so far, really. Few little things to test us. We just came in and we noticed one of the blades was missing on the fan, so we decided whilst we're under safety car to stop and change that now. And we've now put our third driver out for the stint, so hopefully a clean stint again, and we carry on and driving as economically as possible, but as fast as possible, and just keep on going around in circles.
Do you know why the fan is failing?
No, we don't know. We think maybe it was just a weakness in the fan itself. We actually had in practice this morning a little nudge on the front this morning, so we've already changed a fan. So it was a new fan that went on there. So we're not really sure, but yeah.
Other than that, you're running flawlessly.
Touch wood. Yeah.
But what's the state? Is there any chance of beating those minis?
Of what, sorry?
Those minis?
Oh. No, probably not the minis, but we're not challenging the minis. We're comfortable going around with them and getting a good tow and getting good lap times. I let them race because we're not in that race. So this is for a couple of years now. We've had the same 3 drivers for a good 4 or 5 years probably. In COVID we had a bit of a break, but yeah. So first race was back in 2018, and we did actually win that. A bit of luck on the first race, but we then since had problems, and last year we had problems. So far we're going well.
So that was the first race you won?
Well, everyone in the team has raced 2 CVs before. They've raced in other teams before for donkey's years, but they haven't raced as a team together in this car. One of our drivers, Chris, is currently first place in the championship as well, so it's really important this weekend that we keep that gap for him, and so he can bring the championship home as well as a good race today. So that's our main priority, is his championship race. Yeah.
It's hard to think of things to ask about when people are just running around flawlessly.
I don't know about that. I'm glad we look calm and collected.
It's only 19 and a half hours to go, so you're
Yeah. Well, there's a long night. We have learnt from, years before, we were prepped and ready to go for an engine change at any moment. Everyone knows what they're doing. Important to keep people in the garage at all times, and people on the pit wall spotting to see if they're suddenly pitting and stopping. So yeah.
Hour 5. As the sun dropped towards the horizon, KT Racing surged into a 2-lap lead, helped by Team Gadget Racing being delayed by an engine change. Another early frontrunner, Lions Hans Groch, was 24 laps back after its engine breakdown. Rosie Walford Racing completed the podium with the Blueberry Muffins up to 6th. During the race, engines will be changed, suspension arms broken, fans replaced, bumps and dents incurred, parts welded back together, and much worse. Shortly after 7 o'clock, at turn 1, the number 82 regimental racing car crashed heavily on its 190th lap, initiating a substantial rebuild of the entire car.
Give us a sense of the actual damage.
Had the scrutineers. The scrutineers have been in and checked and make certain that the roll cage and everything is the seat. The seat was here. So
do you know whereabouts it
apparently it's up at Richards. We assume
that's turn 1, right?
the first corner, and for that to be hit that side, he's gone hit that corner, and as he's gone round, he's lost it, so it's gone completely round and then across into because the barrier is not very far off the circuit as you go around the corner.
Right. We've got a camera up there, but it doesn't see very far around the corner.
No. So what? How far? But that's what somebody from the people said to us where he went in up there. But that looks like a smash that way, not in the barriers and skidded off. That's all pushed in too much. I mean,
That's a kind of freak.
They were inside kicking the side of the car out to get it back to where it should be.
Before it goes out, let's do a full check. Everyone's back there. Going up and back. Look to the cage, he was happy, didn't ask him anything else. Yes, he's all Get it on the apron and get it fired up. Don't stay to start, so we've got time. You happy?
One hour and 47 minutes after returning to the pit lane on the back of a truck, the car was sent out into the night.
From what I know, it sort of ran wide at turn 1 and managed to find a barrier to hit. There's like a cornfield out there, so he's a bit unlucky to find a barrier. But apparently he hit the barrier square on, and it bent a lot of the car. So the roll cage, which is obviously an important safety feature. And one of the worrying things was whether the scrutineers would allow us to go back out again, or to go let Reggie back out with a bent roll cage. But in the end, we managed to push it back into shape and fix everything else, bolt a couple of new wings on, and sent it out. And it's still going, so it's good.
What was the list of things needed doing? Because somebody told me the headlights were pointed straight.
Yeah, the headlights were pointing up. The doors wouldn't open or close. The roll cage was bent. The rear arm was bent in, so it needed to be bent out again. The front wing was bent. The bonnet was bent, and there was a little infill panel that's bent as well. So nothing, just a couple of things. Yeah, just cosmetic stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Hour 9. At the stroke of midnight, KT Racing led Crisis at Tete Rouge by a lap, with Rosie Walford Racing a further 6 laps behind. The Blueberry Muffins car moved up to 4th, a lap ahead of the recovering 2CV Team Lion car. After its near hour-long pit stop for repairs, Stock Tarts was circulating in 15th. By keeping out of the garage, the Dutch Diane Racing team led 8 of the more powerful Club 2CVs. One team had a special reason for being at the race. Super Schnecker with Jelly Snake Racing were in attendance, helping to raise money for the brain tumour charity.
Always wanted to do this, and there was a car available. I went to have a look at it, and sadly the reason the car was available is because the man that built it got a brain tumour, and sadly 3 weeks after I purchased the car from him, he passed away. Hence, we've left the car exactly the same colour he had it, same number he had it, and I shook his hand when I brought the car and told him it was weird. So that's why it's here, and that's why we're doing it for charity. The cancer research and the tumour charity, brain tumour charity. And hopefully we'll get to finish the race. But that's the story of the car.
It's become a bit of a garage magazine.
Yes, we've spent now more time in the garage than on the track. But we're working on it.
What's the list of things? Is it too long to mention?
It's too long to mention. The last thing that happened, the flywheel fell off. So we've just put a brand new engine in which has never been run, never been set up, and that's what we're trying to do at the moment. But hopefully next time you hear it start, it'll sound a lot better than it has done the last half hour. But we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope we can get it out and going again. Yes, it has. Yeah. Well, like I say, I think we've been in the garage more hours than we've been on track. But yeah, we'll.
There's always going to be one.
Yeah, but we won't give up. We won't give up until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Yeah.
It's a hard old job to keep motivated, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, we keep a chin up, and yeah, we're still smiling. That's what happens. That's what matters. But
how have you got on? I mean, you've been here a long time.
well, we came here Wednesday night. We had a fantastic day Thursday. Everything went absolutely perfect. Friday morning, things started going wrong, and they still are at the moment. But that's racing, as they say.
After spending much of the first hour of the race in the pits, the car ran until midnight before a plethora of problems kept in the garage for almost all of the next 8.5 hours. Hour 13. After experiencing a 24-minute delay at 2 a.m, the crisis at Tete Rouge car was 14 laps behind the leading KT racing car, promoting Rosie Walford Racing to second position. After having early troubles, the two Team Lion cars had climbed up to 7th and 8th places and were circulating quickly. While the Blueberry Muffins car was enjoying a largely untroubled race and running in 4th place into the night, its sister car, the Stock Tarts, was not so fortunate. At 8:30 in the evening, it entered the pit lane and did not emerge for nearly an hour.
When I saw, I can't remember if it was your one or not.
It was
your race overall, I suppose?
Yeah, it was Rhubarb that was in the 35 car. It was really. It's one of those things where one of the wheels, the bolts that hold the steering arm to the wheel was to the hub was coming a bit loose, and the whole wheel was flapping around. So we needed to make that a decent repair. It had to be strong. It had to be solid. You remember? You might remember this from Alton Park. It was the same thing, but yeah, this time I think we've effected I hope a permanent fix. It's nice and strong, so hopefully it'll stay together for the rest of the race.
We were watching the other one, and then you appeared. And
Yes.
There doesn't seem to be as much activity.
Well,
what's the actual problem?
the problem's a bit more localised than the other car, where obviously the side was concave. Now we've been having issues with just the car just vibrating all the time, with some various things coming loose and problems like that. So there's a section on the top of the hub called the Belgian arm, which sounds like I've made it up, but not. That keeps coming loose, so they're trying to make a permanent repair now, because we've tightened it a few times, but it keeps coming loose. And the whole the whole car vibrates the way it was, it rattles everything else loose around it. So we had a loose wheel that could have been pretty catastrophic, and then this coming loose on its own could have been, pretty bad as well. So hopefully, any chance of a result is gone, but we're still actually not lasting fast, because we're not the only team still throwing spanners at things. So we'll try to get back out and do some laps and see if it happens to anyone else, and try to get some places back.
Well, that's the way it goes on these things.
Yeah, this is the way it's gone every time I've done it, actually. So maybe that truly is the way it goes.
I was going to say, you sure we're not in common denominator territory?
Yeah, it's starting to feel like I'm the problem.
No, that's the sister car, right?
The sister car. For us, we've just we've just mostly been in for driver changes, refueling. That's the way we like to keep it. If we can keep it on the going round instead of in the pits, then that's perfect. So we just need to continue consistency.
That's grand. Yeah, it's going to be all right. Maybe 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Not that far, did it?
Yeah. Well, when it goes past 12 hours and we're into the second 12 hours, I'll be happy. That'll be a good. Yeah. Particularly well, you're happy for a bit in the night, and then when the sun comes up, and you start to feel rotten. That's less good. You start to feel the sleep deprivation, and it's sort of early to mid-morning, and yeah, it's horrible. But I'm not going to try and sleep. I'm just going to stay awake and just push through it, and just because I'm needed here, if anything else happens. So.
Are you back out on the track again?
Yeah, I'm going to be back out in about 4 hours, so not long. So not long to get my head down. So, and I've tried it before. You sort of put your head down. It takes you a little while to come down from the adrenaline, and then you end up with about 1 hour sleep, and that makes you feel horrible. So I'm not doing that again. That made me feel bad.
Then at 4:45 in the morning, the Blueberry Muffins team suffered a mechanical failure, starting a trend that would characterise the second half of their race. The top of the steering arm, upper wishbone, had to be welded back into place and the engine changed after its performance dropped. Dawn. As mist settles down on Snetterton, there remains over 8 hours of racing to complete.
Just, they're 40-year-old cars, aren't they, at the end of the day? And stuff like the lighting bar had existed on a road car for donkey's years, and it's been on that race car for, years and years. And then in the end, they just give up, the headlights flopping around, and so it needed a bit of welding. And I think we've done more welding this year than any other year I can remember. Various things need a little, with the magic metal glue tool, which we have here. I better turn it off actually. Yeah, good stuff.
Bit unfortunate though.
We were fourth, and for a long time. Yeah, we dropped back a bit. Yeah, it's all right.
I don't know what you're about when it came in at 5 a.m. I think that's when it.
Yeah, that's when. Yes, yeah, and we had some real issues with icing, and I think a few guys have really. There was I think the dew point went down to a certain point where it was very misty, with a lot of moisture in the air, and then you get this phenomena where you get to 10 degrees or less, and you get a lot of icing. Now, on the standard road car with these engines, there's a balance tube which goes between the two exhausts. There's a tube that goes between the two underneath the carburettor, and it keeps it warm, and you don't get icing in road cars. Also, they're not like wide open throttle all the time like these cars are. But with these race cars, they get rid of that pipe, and they just have the freeze of maintenance and working on the car really. So icing is a thing, and there's not much you can do about it really. Block off some vents. Drafting helps. When you're behind someone else, you get a lot of warm air from someone else. Stuff like that. But it's been a problem. But yes, I think I was asleep then.
I wasn't.
No, you were. Yeah. Was it a hub? Yeah, we had a hub, didn't we? Changed the hub. Yeah. It's fairly normal stuff, really. 24-hour racing. Things like hubs and what have you. But we've done a lot of welding.
What's that? Was it a quarter of an hour or something?
That last stop, yeah, that wasn't too long. We changed the carburettor as well because we've still been having some issues with the car's running fine, okay, and it belts along there, no problem at all. But then you get on the back straight and you're on full throttle for longer, and it seems to start going, and then it starts running out by the time you get to the end. And next thing you know, you're down 2-3 seconds a lap, and it actually really matters. The long straight matters a lot, You lose a lot of time over a long straight if you're not got the speed. Yeah, but we'll see. So we put the other carb on that we know is good, and the jets that we know is good from that. And we've had a fuel pump, and now we've welded the light bar. It's a pair of plugs. We'll see what happens. Especially the two lower ones. You have to reach in a minute with a jack. We'll hoist the engine up in the air, shove the car underneath the gearbox to support it. He's doing the front engine mount, just those little triangle things you can see underneath the engine either side. Need a big guy like that. 35 kilos. Yeah. Engine weighs about 35 kilograms, so like that. So serious chap to do it with gloves on.
Car in gear. Yes.
What he's trying to do now is line up the splines on the input shaft of the gearbox, goes through the clutch and into the flywheel on the back of the engine. And sometimes you line them up like that, and other times they just slide straight in like this. So they've just got to turn it a little bit to actually line it up properly, and then it goes on. And then the 4 bolts hold it.
It's weird watching welding. The colour it does.
Well done, Pete. Genuinely well done, Simon. A million points for that spot.
Soon after 8:30 in the morning, the Team Gadgets race would come to a spectacular conclusion. Exiting the final corner, smoke spewed from its exhaust. Out of sight of the cameras, the car stopped at the pit exit soon after starting its 392nd lap.
The bottom bulb's out. Yeah, it's bottom bulb out this side as well.
Engine ain't gearbox.
That's it. We're done.
Is it completely then?
The engine's split in half.
So when it's saying it's seized.
Well, we think it's seized, and I don't know. Honestly, don't know what's happened. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And you can see straight in the top of the engine on one side, and straight in the side of the engine on the other side, and the gearbox is split apart. I've never ever seen anything like it. Where what? No, we early on in the race, after the during the first hour, we actually went into the lead at one point, and I think during the night we went down to second from last, and I think we might be last now.
Yeah, the pink one's going to give you money there. They're 300 laps down.
Oh well.
Morning,
I did
not
see
even 7 o'clock.
during the night that it come in for quite a long period a couple of times.
Yeah, it done an engine. The fan split. The metal part of the fan split and cut the oil pipes on the oil cooler, and that seized that engine.
See the crank from this side.
Goodness me.
I've seen them like that in Belgium when the 650s let go. Just like blow up from inside out.
Why come off then?
I've seen that right.
the whole thing's completely twisted. It won't actually come.
Yeah, it locked itself up, yeah. We'll investigate it a bit more. At the moment, just what's going on.
We have got a bit of liquid metal though. We might be able to stick it back.
Weld,
JB Weld, we might be able to stick it back together.
No nails. That's what you said.
No more nails.
CT1.
Sticks like shit.
Like shit. You'd probably get you'll probably get away with just a ratchet strap, mate.
Maybe.
Zip tie. It goes right up to the rod.
What's that? Over there, mate.
Sorry? What is that?
If you look, that's that little bit of rod. You can see daylight all the way through.
That's part of the case.
If you were to take it off now, just set it to
Hour 17. After the not fast but furious Mini dropped out of the race, KT Racing moved up to third place overall. Rosie Walford Racing suffered suspension failure at 6 a.m, dropping them to 8th position. Early pace setters Team Gadget retired, and the Dutch Diane Racing team continued pounding around.
Yeah, we're doing fine at the moment. We don't have any problems with the car. It's still running, and yeah, because of the night, it's yeah, we have to little bit adjust. I say, is it right? They say it so. We, during daytimes, it's different driving as in the night, and most of the cars are faster than us, so they. Flashes with the lights, and yeah, that you have to use too. So.
How much faster can you go through? Do you go faster?
The fastest driver doesn't matter if it's a day or night time. He drive 2 minutes 2. Is that right? Something like that, yeah. And. But now my brother is driving, and you see this is the third of the fourth lap right now in the dark, and you see the times getting faster and faster. The first was 2:21, and now it's 2:15. So yeah, I get used to the dark. So that is fantastic.
Finally, at 10 in the morning, Jelly Snake Racing left the garage.
Yep.
Well, it was. I mean,
Well, yeah, it's just refueling and back out on track, hopefully through till the end of the race. Yeah, we started work in here at 20 past 11 last night, and the car went out about half an hour ago, and it's, 10 o'clock now, so about 9:30 we got it out on track. And the lads worked from 11:30 right through, non-stop. And you can see the amount of bits and pieces that we've got down there. But in the end, we bit the bullet and we started from scratch and built a new engine out of the 4 engines that we'd got, and it seems to hopefully have got us back out on track, because we really want to finish the race.
What's the pace like on it?
Well, we're still just making sure it's okay and just going out to do a lap, come in, fine adjustment. We'll find that out hopefully in the next few laps. So, but it's not far off the pace of what we were doing. So, yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope we finish the race.
How do you manage to keep the faith through that ordeal?
Well, no, you always keep the faith in motorsports. You know yourself. It's you wouldn't be here if you know. There's no point in sort of going home with the first problem. you'd end up not racing. You know? And this is what makes the sport. And there's really, you know, everybody here helps. There we go. Yeah. Sounds much better. Oh, well, yeah. Sorry? Oh, absolutely. We tried everything. And in the end, you just go back to scratch and start again. And that's what endurance racing is all about. Never give up.
Have you ever had anything like this? Because it does seem pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, no, I've never done the 24-hour race. This is my first 24-hour race. And I'm loving it. And we'll be back next year.
30 minutes later, the car returned to the pits, where it stayed for the next 91 minutes. Further issues would occur before, at just past 2 in the afternoon, the car headed out once again. Hour 21. KT Racing continued to run free of issues, extending its lead over Crisis at Tête Rouge to 14 laps. A series of mechanical problems caused Blueberry Muffins to drop to 9th. After falling outside of the top 10 in class early on in the race, Dillijaff Racing ended the hour in 4th. The Lions Hangsgroch car moved into 5th place.
So, whereas now, you know, there's quite a lot of cars now feeling the time, and things start to break and fall off. But you know, as long as we can just not go mad and just keep it with it.
How was the night?
That's really nice, actually. It was really nice. So I did a stint in the middle of the night. It's quite nice when it's dark. So the first time I went out in the dark wasn't so good because the full beam wasn't working. But then we changed the battery, that fixed that. But it's quite nice at night because you can see the lights of the other cars in the distance down the straight. So you pick yourself a target, right, 2 laps I'll have you, 2 laps I'll have you. So it's nice to be able to pick things out. It just feels easier to sort of hunt people down at night, I think, than it does in the day.
Where do you think because you're going like the class now?
Well, we're sixth now, but it's, you know, after this amount of time, all the cars are quite well spread out. So if everybody just keeps running as the way they are, the chances of actually overtaking someone else are really quite slim. Because I think we're 3 laps behind the next car in front. So and while we're chipping away at the lead, and then that gap, it becomes more difficult because the cars are spread out. So when it gets to this stage in the race, you're always dependent on somebody else's car having a minor issue. But it happens to everybody.
3 laps for a sake of a long
So at the moment, I think we're taking about 5 seconds a lap out of the car in front. So it's doable, but it's a lot more difficult. But like the sprint races that we do, it's much easier because you've got 15 minutes and you can drive like a lunatic. But you have got to have a bit of compassion for the car, a bit more mechanical sympathy.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, it's all fun. Yeah, there's been quite a few unfortunate ones. So I think just before I came in at 6 o'clock this morning, one of the cars that was, I think, 3rd or 4th, they went off on the first corner, and the safety car came out, and so I came in at 6 o'clock this morning. So that was a Rosie car, the car number 7. So I know that cost them quite a lot of spaces. Got quite a lot of places, so they're now behind us because of the failures, you see, and it's all about, it's an endurance race and it's all about the endurance.
In the early afternoon, the rain came, transforming the track and making these cars hard to drive.
It's out there, it's running.
Yeah, she's going really well. now what we're looking at is the weather. And the weather's really interesting. If you go outside and film some of these clouds, you'll see the really, really big tall ones with the fluffy tops. They're the ones to worry about, because that's a big downpour, that is. And it's not rained here for over 2 weeks. It's been a few races and cars, and there's a lot of rubber and oil laid down on the track, and then you get a bit of sprinkling of rain on the top, and it's a skating rink, and there'll be not just us, I mean anyone, you know, it'll be very difficult, very, very difficult, even for the experienced guys to keep it on the track, because it'll be so slippy. So if we get a big downpour, then expect some excitement with people having bits of bent car and facing the wrong way and gone over curbs and you name it. Yeah.
With a little over half an hour remaining, the 97 Lions car left the track, stopping short of the final turn. It would not restart after the engine seized. The car fell from 7th to 11th place in class by race end.
Like almost seamless. Here comes the high
The Lions Hangsgroch number 79 finished 5th in class and 9th overall. After running 4th in class through the night, unreliability in the last quarter of the race caused the Blueberry Muffins to drop to 13th. It was beaten by the team's second car, the Stock Tarts. The Dutch Diane Racing team enjoyed a largely trouble-free race, completing more laps than 10 other cars and winning its class. Following extensive repairs, the Regimental Racing team would finish 148 laps from the eventual class winner, but were a classified finisher. Completing more laps than 6 of the 8 minis, KT Racing won the 2CV class by 17 laps and finished 3rd overall. Jelly Snake Racing left the pits with 27 minutes remaining. At 10-3, the car slowed after turn 1 and stopped out on track. Despite the team having spent over 14 hours attempting repairs during the race, the car failed to take the finish line within 5 minutes of the class leader, preventing it from being a classified finisher.